I'm going to read from my last book, Watershed. Water can rage, it can trickle. Water can gush, it can caress. Water can overcome or it can disappear. Water has no substitute. And the ubiquity of water, every day, you will brush your teeth, you go to the bathroom, you drink it, and water's ubiquity makes us lose respect for it. And when you lose respect for it and it becomes invisible to you, that's the seed of the crisis being sown. The success stories of water across the world, and there are several of those, all have an underlying common theme, which is a respect for water. Take, Singapore. I think they have really understood that how to respect water. They treat their sewage, they manage it, they measure it, and most importantly, respect is signaled by pricing it appropriately. In India, some of our greatest stories come in our past, where we really respected water. We considered it sacred. We made our rivers goddesses. Why did we do that? We did it because we wanted to give them respect. And we also priced water in a manner very suitable to India's very unique water. I begin the hardback edition of Watershed with a story from Kuldara in Rajasthan. Kuldara is considered a ghost village, an abandoned village. The Paliwal Brahmins were considered enormously rich, right? And what made them rich? They grew wheat in the desert by using a very traditional technology called the khadin. And that technology, which allowed them to take the slender rainfall of Rajasthan and store it underground where it couldn't evaporate, and that technology allowed them to grow wheat in a desert, which made them wealthy. Even today, many of the cascading lakes which store the water underground, which someone like Rajendra Singh in Tarun Bhagat Sangh, when I first told him, you brought 6 rivers back to life, he said, no, Mridula, I have brought 12 rivers. Not I, but he and his team and all the villagers working together have brought 12 rivers back to life. Rajasthan is so rich in traditional technologies to manage and champion its water. There's another important thing. Storing water and supply is one part of the picture, but demand is equally important. And so the Marwari cuisine, the cuisine of Rajasthan, with the Kher Sangri and all of that, celebrates things that grow in scarce water. So you replace those traditional foods of bajra, roti and Kher Sangri and the gatta. You replace that with rice. Then you've got a problem, because the rice requires very different water. So one thing I would say is, in Rajasthan, forests are always the source of water. So wherever your sanctuaries are coming, whether it be Sariska, whether it be Ranthambore, they are important to protect, because look, India's water falls on very few rain days, and that's just a facet. You can't do anything about it. The only thing we can do is to store the water, because we need water every day. So anything that can store water, your underground water structures which your traditional technology is tapped, using a natural technology like your forest, which gather the meager rainfall and then release it as streams over the summer, or new technologies like sewage treatment. But all this has a common core, which is respect for water. So there are 2 ways to respect water, like our traditions. You make them spiritual, you make them goddesses, and you price the water, right? So you respect the water that way. You need to have one of these at the core of it, and then all the technologies follow.